Okay, I guess it's that time again. It's about 9:45 a.m. West Coast time on Wednesday, May 7th. And Pam Bondi has revealed a new excuse for not releasing the Jeffrey Epstein files. Remember previously that she had said on live TV that the files were on her desk. She then said, well, they're being redacted because, the word Trump appears in there probably thousands of times, probably almost as many times as there are photos of Trump and Jeffrey Epstein available through a simple Google search. What MAGA forgets, what they always forget, well, they don't always forget, is that for 15 years, through the 90s into the aughts, Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were best friends. Donald Trump was quoted in articles about Jeffrey Epstein, about how much he enjoyed hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein, and that Jeffrey Epstein liked beautiful women. Many were on the young side, according to Donald Trump. They were best friends. Donald Trump had an entire page in Jeffrey Epstein's little phone book with something like 20 different phone numbers for Donald Trump. I've heard multiple Trump supporters say, well, he was working undercover, even though he was not employed by any government or law enforcement agency. He was working undercover on the inside to bring down Jeffrey Epstein and his empire. So this morning, over 2 months after Pam Bondi, Attorney General, initially claimed she was releasing the Epstein documents, the Attorney General was asked about the delay this morning, Wednesday. The FBI, they're reviewing. There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child adult content. There are hundreds of victims, and no one victim will ever get released. I don't know what that means. It's just the volume. And that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that. As though the FBI never went through any of those materials before now. The Attorney General also dismissed claims made by Republican James Comer, head of the House Oversight Committee, that some files had been destroyed. She laughed about that. She said, I haven't seen that statement, but I'll call him later and find out. So remember the last time this all blew up? It was on a Thursday that the White House had invited several MAGA social media influencers like Mike Cernovich and Jack Posobiec and DC Drano to the White House to give them copies of Binder 1 of the Epstein files. And they gave them each this big, thick white binder that included heavily redacted material from the Epstein files, all of which had been previously released to the public. And that happened on the same day that the Trump administration had freed the Tate brothers from Romanian custody and welcomed them back onto U.S. soil in the state of Florida. So MAGA is clamoring about the Epstein files on the same day they are welcoming home the Tate brothers, who were worse than Jeffrey Epstein because they employed actual violence against women and minors. Celebrated, reviled, Trump's best friend. Trump got them out of custody. What's the common thread there? That's right, it's Donald Trump, yes. Laura Loomer has been going off on Pam Bondi over the last few days, says we can't trust Pam Blondie anymore. She put up a couple of tweets yesterday just excoriating Pam Bondi and her endless number of excuses. She appeared, I guess, on her own show, Loomer Unleashed, asking, have the Epstein files been destroyed? She said, Benny Johnson was asking James Comer about the Epstein files and whether or not we could expect to see them. And, you know, usually you hear all these canned responses from politicians that just go ahead and defend Pam Bondi, right? And they're like, oh, you know, Pam Bondi is doing such a great job, you know? It's like, you know, all of this is fucking circle jerk bullshit. She's so great, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, right. She's not so great. Trust me, guys. She's really not doing such a great job. We were promised that these files were going to be released on day one promise. Well, what is it now? Over 100 days into the Trump administration, have we seen any Epstein files? No, we haven't received any Epstein files. That's because Donald Trump is on every single page. How do they not understand this? Trump was sued for raping a 13-year-old girl in Epstein's Manhattan brownstone walk-up, whatever the fuck it is. A 13-year-old girl who looked exactly like his daughter, Ivanka. Then Pam Bondi goes on Fox News. I mean, honestly, every single day. Pam Bondi is on Fox News. She's on Fox News more than she does her job. And people are starting to realize it. Another headline, MAGA seethes as Pam Bondi again stonewalls on the Epstein files. Will anyone ever be held accountable? So the guy who prosecuted, the federal prosecutor who prosecuted Jeffrey Epstein, I think his last name was Acosta in Florida, who gave Jeffrey Epstein the sweetheart deal of a lifetime despite an overwhelming amount of videotape evidence. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein was allowed to serve 6 months in prison, but he was allowed out every day from like 8 to 6 to go to his office. He just had to come back and spend the night in jail. And also, I think one of the other complicating factors here is that during the entire time, Pam Bondi served 2 terms as Attorney General for the state of Florida. During her 2 terms, during those 8 years, Jeffrey Epstein was flourishing in Florida. She never took one step to investigate or prosecute Jeffrey Epstein or any of his co-offenders. Not one. And now she's Attorney General for the United States of America. Again, Donald Trump is on every single page of the Epstein files. Or damn near. Allegedly. Many people are saying. It's so far-right podcast host Benny Johnson said on Tuesday, the Attorney General ordered the files released. We all know that they have not been released. One of my biggest fears, which I expressed with Kash Patel and a lot of people, including Stephen Miller, going into the new administration was this. I hope they're not shredding documents right now. They're just shredding the ones that have Donald Trump's name on them. Pam Bondi said there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children. There are hundreds and hundreds of victims, yada, yada, yada. Presumably MAGA Kyle Becker tweeted, let's add another victim, the millions of Americans who wonder if there are powerful elites implicated in this Epstein ring who are compromised and should be in prison, but the U.S. government is protecting them. Donald Trump's administration is protecting them. Why? Because Donald Trump allegedly is on every single page of the Epstein files. They were best friends for 15 years. So just to review, thousands of files, hundreds of victims, and Epstein and Maxwell did it all themselves. You wonder why the American people don't trust the elites. It also raises the question, are elites simply corrupt and evil human beings? Let's see some action. Charlie Kirk, he's cranky about it. Somebody else tweeted the clown meme where it starts off with white makeup and then a little clown makeup and then the wig and then the full thing. where the first one is like, there are files on my desk. The files will be released tomorrow. The files will be released in phases. And full clown is, here's a trapper keeper. So MAGA is not happy, man. They're all saying things like it'll probably take 4 years to review all the material. I don't need them to go through thousands of videos. A preliminary report would be helpful 100 days in. These are MAGA people saying this. We're going to release the files, but you have to wait until Trump wins. We're going to release the files. You're going to have to wait until Bondi gets in too. We're going to release the files. Okay, we got to wait until Kash Patel gets confirmed. We're going to release the files. Well, we're working on it. The FBI's got to redact some things. So MAGA is not happy about this. But again, Donald Trump was Jeffrey Epstein's best friend for 15 years. He is all over the Epstein files. There are videos of them partying together and dancing with young women that aired on NBC 20 years ago. What doesn't MAGA understand about this? Trump is a perp.